So she comes into this fight, and let's say hypothetically that she starches Juliana in the first round. I think that the way she won this way, in terms of like making a statement about who she is as a fighter and as a person, was a much more meaningful way to have won the fight. Because if she starches her in the first round, all that shows is that Amanda could starch you in the first round. She almost won the first fight in the first round. However, at this stage of her career, when the big question for her is, does she still have the fire to win? Does she still have the fire to be the champion? After not training very hard, it looked like, having poor reserves, poor management, didn't take her seriously. Like, was that just a sequence of events that happened because she had been so dominant and she got complacent? Or does she have so much money, she's been on top for so long that she's over? Like, she's like that. The hungry Amanda Nunes is not going to come back. That's the question that you are asking going into this fight. And if she starches Juliana in the first, you don't find out. All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So it turns out the Pena and Amanda Nunes fight was a lot closer than people thought. A lot closer. And when you look at the additional scorecard that I'm going to share with you guys, you'll see exactly what I mean. And you know whose scorecard that is? It's mine, son. Except that this is not a traditional scorecard. This is the actual scorecard related to who was likely to win the fight as the fight developed. And I'll explain exactly what I mean. And then I also want to talk about Amanda Nunes' her performance in general and what it represented, because I think there are some really interesting points to point out. Now, if you're new to the channel and you are seeing this for the first time, how have I never seen this guy before? Well, I was hiding in the corner of the internet that you don't frequent. So you must spend most of your time, cruising for, places that you might catch monkeypox, if you know what I mean. What? Just kidding. But yeah, check out in the comments, dude. Up until today, we had nothing but extraordinarily high-level MMA conversations. Today, we had a minor slip when we had a group of people who were arguing a ludicrous point, which I will also address in this video. And if you have any martial arts experience, like actually, if you've ever put in at least a year training in martial arts, you will 100% agree with me. And if you haven't, maybe you'll agree with them, or maybe you can take my word for it. We'll decide. But under normal circumstances, we have nothing but super smart, high-level MMA analysis in the comment section. And let's continue that. I'm not mad at you guys that disagree with me, obviously. And I don't mean to insult your martial arts experience. I just know for sure if you think the thing you think, you just don't have it. But I love you anyways. Jeez, I love all you guys. So anyway, so let me lead off here. So what I mean about scoring this fight, okay? So this is basically the dialogue that I was having while at the stadium watching that fight. It was like this, okay? So you take the first round. In the first round, Amanda knocked down Pena twice, right? I think she knocked her down twice in the first round, 3 times in the second round. So by any objective measure, that is a very successful round for Amanda, right? 2 knockdowns, very dominant, didn't take any serious damage. She got hit with a couple shots, but like nothing serious, right? So like, to an untrained eye who doesn't understand the game planning side of that fight and like and really for real understanding the matchup of skills and how, like how everyone always says, styles make fights, styles make fights, styles make fights. And what that means is, how does this weakness match up against this strength? How does this strength make, where are these fighters vulnerable, and how does that match up to the strengths of the other person? Okay. And so at first glance, Amanda knocked her down twice, and Juliana Pena looks like she's in trouble, right? Like if you don't know what you're looking at, that's what it looks like. Here's the thing though. The first round was a wild success for Juliana Pena. And the reason I can say that is because I know what her game plan was. And as soon as I say it, you're going to also know. Because what we all know, everybody knows, what was Juliana Pena's game plan? Was it to stand in the pocket and bang with Amanda Nunes and just try to shock the world with like a front kick to the chin? Of course not. Everyone knows she was going to make her work and make her tired, grind through her gas tank. That's where she believed that Amanda was vulnerable in the first fight, and she proved that in the first fight, she was vulnerable there. She made Amanda expend all of her energy. She ran out of gas. She had nothing left to the point where she tapped to a submission that was not even locked in. She had no hooks, no nothing. She just she tapped to exhaustion for all intents and purposes. Right? And so Juliana Pena is fighting the same fight because Amanda Nunes is not like that fight was not the first time she had shown being vulnerable to gassing out, you know? So Pena's going out there. She's like, I'm just going to impose will on her. Her entire goal with the first round is not to land more punches than Amanda. It's not to take Amanda down. It's not to do none of that. Her goal for the first round is to make Amanda work. It's to drain the gas tank. That's it. Like, that is all she wants. And so while on the scorecard, Amanda won, and she did win. That's a successful round for Amanda, but it's also a successful round for Juliana. And that's what I was explaining. I'm like, look, dude, that's like, you know, if it goes 5 rounds, then sure, great. Amanda won that round. But Juliana won that round also because she made her work, right? She made her work. And so the second round comes around and Amanda knocks her around 3 times. Clearly a 10-8 round, right? Clearly a 10-8 round. Dominant 10-8 round. However, Juliana made her work a lot in that round also. And so per the goals of each fighter, even though 1 and 2 look like completely dominant victories for Amanda, they were on Amanda's scorecard. And on Juliana's scorecard, they were also wins because she's making her work. Now, the thing that Juliana couldn't control is she can't control what Amanda's starting out gas tank is. You know, if Amanda's gas tank is double what it was in the first fight, then she's going to have a really hard time making her work through all of those energy reserves. Right, which is what she which is what she ended up being up against. Well, 2 things. She ended up being up against a bigger gas tank, and she really ended up against a fighter who was exclusively or certainly top priority was saving as much energy as possible. She was not going to try to go run through her like she did in the first fight. That's how she got in trouble. She was going to take her time. She was not going to expend energy. She knew exactly what Juliana Pena was doing. We just talked about this the other day, about the importance of game planning. You want to see the importance of game planning? Like, you want to see exactly what it looks like? Right there. Right there. That is the definition of knowing your opponent and then working your game plan around the strengths and weaknesses of that opponent, and figuring out what they are going to do, preparing for it, and then being better. Amanda knew that what she was going to try to do to her was make her tired, make her work, make her tired, and go through her gas. And you saw she fought an incredibly controlled, measured, and disciplined fight. The most disciplined fight I've ever seen her fight. You know, because, I mean, she knocked her down 5 times in the first 2 rounds, and not once did she dive on her and go try to knock her out. She had her on squiggle legs too one time, and she still didn't go after her. She was going to retain her energy at all costs. And I will address that also, though, because I think there might be another reason why she did that. Now, at this point, if you're watching and you're saying, hey, I heard Jesse say this in his live stream earlier. I did say some of this in the live stream, but I said it 40 minutes into an hour-and-a-half live stream, which is completely unacceptable. These like, you know, sometimes I've been doing this for a while. I know when I have like good points to make, like I know, or I have valuable input to add to like the broader analysis of a fight. Like, I know when I have like something that's actually valuable, which, you know, in my opinion, I mean, like, I haven't heard anybody else talking about this really. So it just sitting in the middle of an hour-and-a-half live stream, no one's going to see it. But also I have some other stuff to talk about that you haven't heard on there anyway. But also I'll make it more entertaining now, so just stick with it. So anyway, so you go into the 3rd round, right? And Amanda's well up, but I just kept saying, I'm like, this is a way closer fight than people think. This is way closer. Because again, if Amanda runs out of gas, Juliana's going to win. Juliana is not gassed at all. She's hurt. She got hurt, but she's fine, dude. She doesn't look rattled. You look in her eyes. She has not started. She's not doubting herself even a little bit. But Amanda then Amanda goes into her guard, and she, you know, kind of I mean, she's in top position. I wouldn't even necessarily call it a dominant position because Juliana was attacking from the bottom the entire time. The entire time. The only way that you could have been watching that fight, if you like this, so let's say you had Amanda by, and you had the over 2.5 or whatever, right? Like, so you're rooting for Amanda, into the third, fourth, fifth rounds, right? The only way that you could have been calmly watching that and not be nervous is if you don't know anything about jiu-jitsu. Because she was on top, but she was being very seriously threatened all the time. Like all the time. She was never laying there without Juliana trying to work on something and like work towards things that she almost got. The closest one was that armbar. Like, when she rolled over, she had the armbar with her stomach down. That was pretty close. But Amanda did a good job defending. But nonetheless, there was never a moment in that fight where Amanda had cleared her out, right? Like where there's no danger left. You don't need to be concerned about it. And if you look at a 50-43, right? Yeah, like this is my point. You look at a 50-43 fight scorecard, which I will agree with. I don't know. I mean, I would probably go 50-44. I'll probably give certainly a 10-8 round in the second round, but I don't think so in the first round. So I would go 50-44. But so 50-44, okay? When you got a 50-44, scorecard, under normal terms, going into the fifth round, you are not concerned. Like, it's like, this is basically a formality at this point. This is complete dominance. You got a 10-8 round and then 3 10-9s, like, you're good, right? And that was not the case in this fight. This is a way closer fight than it looked like. That's why when people started saying they should run it back. I'm like, dude, I agree. Because I will say this right now. Amanda was incredible last night. Incredible. Fought an incredible fight. And I'll get into that in a second. But if Amanda came into a rematch with Juliana and was not in prime shape, she will fucking lose to her. I will say that right now. If she comes in not in prime shape, Juliana will beat her. She just beat her 5 straight rounds, 10-8 rounds, arguably 2 10-8 rounds. She'll lose to Juliana if she's not in prime cardiovascular shape. Because Juliana's going to make her work. Like, she's going to make her work. And she has the chin on that girl, dude. But anyway, so yeah. So they could run it back. So here's the thing I wanted to talk about also about how Amanda fought the fight, though. So I did a reel about this too because I was just so impressed with Amanda. But I want to say it again really quick now. That if you look at how did Amanda lose the first fight, right? Not enough preparation or even COVID, whatever. But let's just say didn't have enough gas, right? So she didn't have enough gas to start. She didn't manage the gas that she had well at all. So she ran out of gas. And then she got submitted. Okay? So bad reserves to begin with, poor management of the reserves, and then ultimately submitted, due to exhaustion, but nonetheless, submitted. So she comes into this fight, and let's say hypothetically that she starches Juliana in the first round, right? So she comes out in the first round, she lands a clean shot, then a head kick, starched, right? Juliana wakes up like 3 minutes later. That's like, okay, damn, the Lioness is back, son. Lioness is back. And obviously that would be really impressive, and I would have won the bet that I made on, Amanda Nunes under 2.5 rounds. But I think that the way she won this way, in terms of like making a statement about who she is as a fighter and as a person, was a much more meaningful way to have won the fight. Because if she starches her in the first round, all that shows is that Amanda could starch you in the first round. She almost won the first fight in the first round. So you wouldn't really learn anything about her and where she's at in her career, right? Because she's always been able to starch people in the first round. However, at this stage of her career, when the big question for her is, does she still have the fire to win? Does she still have the fire to be the champion after not training very hard, it looked like, having poor reserves, poor management, didn't take her seriously. Like, was that just a sequence of events that happened because she had been so dominant and she got complacent? Or does she have so much money? She's been on top for so long that she's over. Like, she's like that. The hungry Amanda Nunes is not going to come back. That's the question that you are asking going into this fight. And if she starches Juliana in the first, you don't find out. Bottom line, you do not find out the answer to that question. But if Amanda fights the exact fight that she fought last night, you find out the answer to that question in absolutely certain terms. Because she fought disciplined. She addressed each part of her weaknesses from the previous fight. She came in with enough gas to go 5. She managed her energy so that she could go 5. And she intentionally dove down onto the ground for 13 straight minutes, showing that Juliana cannot tap me if I'm not tired. And here's the other thing. Last night, that was a night of statements for Amanda Nunes. And I'm not saying this to try to sound poetic. It is. This is what it was. You know? Like, I'm not looking for a poetic way to describe the night. This is what it was. Now, in the embedded, I'm sure a lot of you guys saw, she was talking about how, they don't like me in Brazil, whatever. Oh, they don't like me in my home country, whatever. First of all, there's no way that doesn't hurt, first of all. If that's really true, if she really is, I'm not really sure, but if she really is unpopular in Brazil, I mean, that's got to hit you somewhere in the heart, right? So what song did she come out to? She came out to, I can't remember the exact name, but the song was like, I'm an American. The song that she came out to was I'm an American. It said in the chorus, America, America. So she's making a statement. She's like, I don't care if Brazil doesn't like me. I'm American anyway. I made my life here. I was born in Brazil, but I chose to be in America. And I built my life here with my girl and our kid. Like, I'm an American. There is absolutely no way that all the stuff that was going on with the Brazil thing is going on. And then she comes out to a song that is specifically like, I'm an American, and that's unrelated. Like, she's making a statement. And then in the fight, the entire performance is a statement. Oh, I didn't have enough gas. I had enough gas. Oh, I didn't manage my gas well. I managed my gas well. Oh, you think you could submit me? Try doing it when I'm not completely exhausted. Oh, you can't? Cool. 50-43. And you said you didn't think I had the hunger anymore? How you like me now? And all the questions are answered. Just like that. And if she kicked Juliana in the head a minute into the fight, none of those questions get answered. Because you always knew that in the first minute she could starch Juliana. She couldn't have made a more firm statement if she wrote it out in a movie script. You know, if you really think about it. And that is what it is, dude.